don't give up my clients.
How refreshing. A lawyer with a conscience.
You know, if my arm gets tired, I'm just gonna shoot you to end this.
Now, when it comes to opening episodes for Power, one thing we can always expect is plenty of emotion, action, death, and maybe even a twist or two. What they did with Go Season 4 Episode 1, it really was like an action-packed movie, where they basically did it all. There was of course Tariq and Brayden on absolute pure smoke, but they left a lot of clues, a lot of small conversations I do think we need to keep in mind. They also put a lot of chess pieces in certain positions for various character plots and storylines. Now when we get to episode 5, that's when I expect everything to kind of completely turn upside down. And then who knows what we can expect in episode 6 all the way through to 10. But in this breakdown, we're just going to run through some general thoughts around episode 1, where we are with some storylines, where we can expect them to be heading, with just more of a broader look at the chessboard. We're also going to take a look at a few storylines they haven't touched on just yet, which I do expect them to come to at some point, along with a theory or two for all things Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4. Now let's just start with Brayden and Tariq. They've managed to buy themselves a small respite, but that's all it is. Nomar and the Tejadas will be keeping close tabs, and eventually, Nomar knows that she has to take care of Tariq because he is a huge threat for more reasons than one. He knows a lot about Nomar and her organization, what she did to Francesco Lombardi, and he can also dismantle her relationship with Anya, which I'm sure they've already foreshadowed. But going forward, Tariq and Brayden will still need to watch their backs. They need a new alliance, they need new muscle and protection around them, they need a new connect, which I do expect them to find at some point. But then they'll have to move that product undetected. Let's not forget, Nomar did say she didn't want to hear a word of them moving product on the streets. So they're gonna have to get back to the drawing board, and they're gonna have to do it pretty quick. So a new alliance is definitely something we need to look out for. Whether that's Obi's family, 2-Bit, or whoever else, they definitely need a new alliance. Now on Nomar, she really did look vulnerable and weak, and for someone who looked like she had everything on lock and in control in Season 3, she really has started Season 4 somewhat on the back foot. She was forced into calling a truce. The organization beneath her are already betraying each other and doing their own shit, and I also think they're setting the foundation for Anya to also be a real problem. Another way is also Obi, who I do expect to bite the dust at some stage. I do think time is ticking for Obi and nothing's changed after episode 1. I do think him trying to hide the fact that he went to Tariq for help and his family have got the green cards will definitely come to light, and so that's when I expect Kane to step up and take his place. There's of course also Kane and Nomar's romantic relationship that they've teased, so I do expect there to be a lot of power moves with different people being in control at different stages, and so Obi and Anya Covington will definitely be, in my opinion, playing a big role in the balances of power. And I do want to kind of just raise another point. Now with Drew, I think a lot of us would have been okay if Tariq just got rid of him in this moment, but the reason why they didn't is because they need to flush this storyline out with the Tejada betrayal. Kane's already beginning to ask questions around who shot Monet, with Diana's story not exactly adding up, which is of course why Drew wanted to eliminate either Monet or Tariq. So with Kane saying he's going to do some investigation, you can bet there's going to be a lot of shady maneuvers and conversations happening in and around the Tejadas behind each other's backs, especially from Drew. You can already see Drew becoming a little reckless, because he was so sloppy in episode 1. I mean, he couldn't even keep a hold of Becca. He was telling Diana to grab a pillow and finish Monet, and coming up with plans without really thinking them through. He was also frightened of what could happen if Tariq revealed the truth. So you can already tell, he is going to be a problem, one that will eventually have to be dealt with. On the other hand, you've got Diana feeling very guilty over what happened, and I think that will dictate a lot of her moves going forward, and I'm going to come back to her in just a second. But we do need to see how Monet recovers, where her mindset is, especially having those conversations with Lorenzo, Mecca and Zeke. I think from the early teasers and trailers we've seen, we can make a very good case where she'll want back in the street game to try and get control over her kids again, which will no doubt cause a bit of conflict with Kane and Drew. She also told her kids to find out who shot her, and let's not forget who that was. It was Tasha, and she will play a part in season 4. So her potentially coming face to face with Monet later on will definitely be interesting, and so will if Nomar targets Tasha at any point, just like Drew did with Becca. There's also this whole potential Diana pregnancy plot twist, if she is pregnant that is, and that will definitely no doubt make things a little bit more complex. So there definitely will be a lot of moving parts that we do have to consider. A lot will definitely change from now until episode 5. We also need to see Jeanette Stewart's introduction, Monet's cousin, a character who I think will have a huge impact on Diana. She's said to be the church family member that judges them for who they are, but she is also the one who knows Monet very well. But judging by Diana going to the church and praying, she may have more of an impact on Diana than Monet. So Jeanette Stewart, you can imagine her coming to the Tejadas with a lot of biblical quotes, You can imagine her being stern with Monet and telling her to have a look around, look what you've lost. So the overall situation with the Tejadas, it will be at the center of the storm. Whether they all make it out of season 4, at this moment in time, it is definitely difficult to say. Apart from, I think we all know at least one of Drew or Diana definitely have to go, if not both. I think the fact that Diana is feeling a lot of remorse and guilt, and potentially the pregnancy plot twist, if true, could save her. If Drew also keeps pushing Diana to keep this secret, or do shit she's having trouble to cope with, I wouldn't be surprised if Diana eventually throws Drew under the bus. For sure there's going to be a lot more betrayals, lies and manipulation. So with that being said, I think it's the perfect time to move over to Effie's situation with Kane. Now this will be a storyline I will be diving deeper on this week because it is a huge talking point. But just as a brief overview, it's pretty clear she warned Tariq because she still cares for him. Alex Lepre, who also plays Effie, did also tease. She's consistent in the way she does what needs to be done. She has a specific goal in mind and she'll do anything for self-preservation. So in season 4, the keyword for Effie is self-preservation. However, Kane did question, are you trying to distract me? And when Kane says shit like, you smell like a knock, your name sounds a hella fake, just giving you this look when he knows what you're saying is complete bullshit, we have to pay attention. Because Kane may make some questionable decisions from time to time, but one thing he's not stupid. So I do think episode 1 was just them setting the foundation for him to rumble Effie. But I do think the question is now, how will he find out? What's his reaction? And how deep will Effie's betrayal go? All of these questions we're definitely going to get into them in a bit more detail sometime this week. Now with Junior, I did feel as if his death was a little underwhelming. I can see why he had to go, because they needed to give Detective Carter a motivation, to go after Tariq St. Patrick and form this new task force. But the whole flash drive storyline, it was one of the biggest mysteries going into season 4, and in the end, it was like, oh, it's Tariq's connection to Rashad Tate, who only helped him get green cards for the OK keys. However, having said that, we don't know whether that's the only information that Cooper Saxe has left, and we don't know what information Junior's left behind either.
Because from where I am now, I can play just as dirty.
We have to remember who Cooper Saxe was as a character, and Power Book 2 Ghost are known for a lot of plot twists, so I wouldn't be surprised if there is another little twist to the tale here. So it is definitely something just to keep in mind. Information in the world of power is always dangerous, and there will be more. Kamal Tate will definitely provide some valuable information to Carter's task force, and it's about them connecting the dots, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. But whether or not they're able to get enough evidence that actually leads to a conviction for Tariq St. Patrick or any of the others, it's going to be very difficult. We've never seen law enforcement get a major win on Ghost, and with season 4 being the last, they are running out of time. But judging by Carter's introduction, I do think he's going to be a real menace to deal with, so let's see if he's able to do what countless of others couldn't. Now there are a few storylines that they didn't touch on in episode 1, but there are definitely some that I do expect to crop up at some point in season 4. For example, we need to see where Rashad Tate fits into this season, because we know his brother will be on Carter's task force, and so with Rashad Tate's information being left on Cooper Saxe's flash drive, it's not a pretty look for someone who's just come into a bit of political power, and definitely not the publicity that he needs. That's if Junior or Saxe have left any further info. But I wouldn't be surprised if there is a little conflict between the Tate brothers, because where there's Tariq, you can be damn sure he'll need someone with influence, which of course is Rashad Tate. Rashad Tate may also have issues with his love life, because Harper wasn't impressed when she overheard him accepting Davis's bribe. So what impact will Harper have on Tate? There's also the whole 2-bit storyline we need to keep tabs on, especially because Tariq will get his Porsche back. Could he be one of the alliances that Tariq creates, or will he remain an enemy, or will Tariq smoke him to get his car back? It is said that Tariq is going to be going for people this season, so let's wait and see. We also know Tariq will be back at Stansfield, and so there's also the classroom scenes. Almost every episode across the first 3 seasons, the classroom scenes do tend to kind of set the tone for the episode, and give us clues around the overall theme, which I do expect to continue, at least in the first half. But this time around, I'm expecting some feisty debates and conversations involving Tariq, Effie, Diana, and even maybe Becca. They also touched on Davis's troubles in 401, so I do expect that to continue to play out and also have an impact on his mindset and his motivations to the point where he enters the criminal world. But does he stay loyal to Tariq? That's the major question. Method Man did tease in an interview that his character is all about the win. I also raised a point about him being a survivor, so how will he survive? In my opinion, it's going to be by joining the team who's going to win, or maybe even playing between both. And last but not least, where does Tasha fit into the storyline? You've got Noma saying find Tariq's weakness, and we all know that's Tasha, so I wouldn't be surprised if Tasha is abducted or in trouble at some point, and then who knows, will that bring Uncle Tommy back to New York? So those are just some general thoughts around the aftermath of episode 1 and some storylines and theories to keep in mind for the rest of season 4. So let me know what you thought of episode 1 after a rewatch or 2, because I know you Power fans have already watched it a few times just like I have. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and as always, thank you guys for watching and I'll see you next time.